try as much as possible to give you the solution that you have been looking for real estate and housing needs. I'd like to start by giving you a brief introduction about other things that we do. Outside real estate, we also teach people and empower people on how they can start any business of their choice with little or nothing. We also show people who are in business retire gracefully. And one of the things that can make you retire gracefully is a home that you can go back to and some investment that you can be getting money from at the end of every month, so you can survive after retirement. We'll give you the opportunity to go through, have this at the end of the day with ease. We're going to go into this if we have time, showing you how you can actually start a business without 1 naira in your pocket, and how you can double whatever business volume you're into. Learn how to make money with real estate, and I'll give you the real estate solution that makes it possible for you guys to own houses with your rent without need for any equity contribution. To buy houses at 30% to 50% of the real value, meaning that a house, that a bungalow that is 12 million naira, I'm going to show you can actually buy it with 3 to 5 million naira. 3 to 5 million naira will not build these houses, but you'll be in a position to do that as we come to a close with this presentation. FMG platform has researched the real estate industry in Nigeria. And with my 25 years of banking experience and exposure in Canada, I've been able to come up with solutions that can make real estate happen in this form. You can buy properties with your mouth if you are willing to. You can buy properties with your rent. You can buy properties with a year or 2 years bank interest cost, with what I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. You can also buy properties with the equivalent of your equity contribution. What other organizations and developers are telling you is to bring equity contribution to be able to build a house that you pay over a period of 15 years. What I'm going to show you today is how to use that equity contribution to buy a house. You can do mortgage without need for any down payment. And you can also make in excess of 20% investing in real estate, buying houses at 30% to 50% of the real value that you can sell and make money. Now, our solution in civilized environment, if you are working and can pay rent, you can become a landlord. It's possible here. What we have is that the stakeholders in the real estate sectors are doing wrong things. And nobody is able to bring them down to actually correct the anomalies that we have in the system. So when you give a developer the opportunity to do real estate for you, they can't solve the other problem of the other stakeholder. So they get stopped. That's why if you go around Abuja, there are a lot of abandoned real estate projects by cooperatives. Because one of us, they are not able to carry that stakeholder along. What we have done is to solve the problem of all the stakeholders, and we have come up with a product that makes it watertight to solve every problem that we have in the real estate sector. So as we go on, you'll see the solution that we have. The first problem we have is affordability. People are building houses that people cannot buy. If you look at the environment, we are doing the opposite of what should be done. If you go to any civilized environment, 70% of the houses are apartments. Studio apartment, 1-bedroom flat, and 2-bedroom flat. Even in the rich areas, go to the high street in London, you see more of apartments than luxury apartments. In Nigeria, we're doing the opposite. 70% of our houses are luxury apartments, 25% are townhouses, only 5% are apartments. That's why if you go to Mitama today and Asokoro, half of the houses are empty. And if you go towards the airport and towards Gwarimpa, you see a lot of completed estates with nobody staying in them. Because their prices are above the reach of the salaries that people are earning. This is one of the biggest problems, because our developers build houses for only politicians and a few civil servants that are stealing money. The real large number of people that need houses can't afford the house that we. If we look at the statistics in many organizations, 40% of your workforce are people starting life. They don't need bungalows and duplexes. They need to 6% and the 15% is 5%. We add 1% bank guarantee fee to it, it becomes 6%. So our total cost of funding our real estate is 6%. Single digits that you have all over the world. Will our house be cheaper? Yes, it will be cheaper. Second problem solved. The problem of high interest rates that banks charge. Solved already. Other people borrow money from the banks and sometimes cannot pay at the end of the day. The third problem is that banks know that government give land out of home. But bank insists on getting CFO to do real estate projects. So they are not lending. Because they will ask you to come up with a land with CFO. You won't get CFO until you finish building the house. So many of the estates, banks cannot offer money. But in our own case, we put a fixed deposit in the bank. We get a collateral to the bank to give us the bank guarantee that we need. So this third problem of collateralization is taken care of. They don't need to ask for CFO or RFO because it's cash collateralized. Third problem solved. These are bottlenecks that actually cripple a lot of these estates that I'm talking about. The fourth problem is that a lot of developers come to meet cooperatives and lie to them that they can do estate for them. They just tell you stories, all to lure you to get your equity deposit. Once you get the equity deposit, the story changes. They go to the site and use what they have and stop. An estate construction that should take 12 to 18 months end up taking 3 to 5 years. And when you do that, it increases the cost of the houses because interest will be added to the price of the house. We don't have these delays because we give the construction company a bank guarantee, showing that their money is in the bank waiting for them. Oh, greetings. I'm here with you. I know you are listening to the presentation that I was already doing, and I was already giving you a lot of tips already. My name is Francis Okumagba, a mentor, business strategist, life and wealth coach. I help people succeed in what they do or choose to do. Money on the Street is an advocacy program targeted at reducing the level of unemployment, poverty, and crime rate in our country, Nigeria. This program is for everybody. People who are poorly paid, people that are struggling with their businesses, people who have ideas but sit at home because they don't know what to do. Many of them looking for money to start that business. Today, I'm going to be giving you some tips that will improve and take you to your next level. The topic today is cooperative housing solution. And because I do mentoring and business consulting, I'm going to add to it how cooperatives can make money to help their members, expose their members to how they can succeed, how they can actually get jobs and also start businesses. The opportunity that we are giving today will also be the cooperative opportunity to solve their housing problems, where they can buy houses with their mouths, buy houses with their rent, buy houses with money borrowed from the bank at a lower rate and use it to buy a house. For instance, interest you are supposed to pay for a loan of like 10 million to 20 million naira. The cost of that interest is what will buy the house for you. How you can use a house to buy a new house. But today I'm going to be specifically talking about some of the challenges that makes it impossible for people to actually succeed, because cooperatives are supposed to use the synergy of their membership to actually take advantage of the market in their interest. But most times they are not able to do this because of their personal interest that they put into the transaction. Some of the cooperative executives actually put their interest into the transactions and make it impossible for them to have deals that are actually attractive to their members. Everything you need to start estate business and solve the problem of housing for cooperative is around them. And because of the synergy of their membership, we can actually create the enabling environment for them to use the equity contribution that they are giving presently to a lot of mortgage institutions that give them the promise that they are going to give them mortgages to buy houses.
And sometimes it's near impossible to achieve that because the salary they earn sometimes is not enough to actually allow them have this equity contribution that they need to put on ground. I like to start by telling you some of the challenges why it's near impossible for a lot of cooperatives. Why we have a lot of estates that are actually taken up by cooperatives, abandoned halfway. Why sometimes it is impossible to get deals done because the stakeholders in the real estate sector, all of them have issues that nobody is able to solve. And everybody takes their own issue. And when you get a cooperative to actually engage some developers, the developers are there, but they cannot solve the problem of regulation. They cannot solve the problem of funding. They cannot solve the problem of the internal wrangling within the executive. So the estate, because of one stakeholder, crash, and at the end of the day, they are never completed. I'm going to take you through the challenges, and after that, I'll profess solutions on how you can actually mitigate against those risks, tell you about the risk, then tell you about the opportunities that are bound, how you can use your mouth to buy a house, how you can use your rent to buy a house, how you can actually use the interest that you pay to a bank to buy a house, how you can use a house to buy a new house. But I'm going to be focusing more on the cooperative advantage and making sure housing is possible for cooperative. Why do we have issues in the real estate sector? One, the type of houses we build. Do you know a lot of people build houses that people don't need? They build houses that people cannot actually afford, and they build houses for few who they consider enlightened and have money. 70% of the houses we have in Nigeria, for example, are luxury apartments, duplexes, country homes. If you go to the highbrow cities of Nigeria, you see houses that are supposed to be in the countryside where land is cheaper is what they build in the most expensive area of Abuja. So if you go to Metama today, 70% of the houses that we build are luxury apartments, bungalows, and duplexes. 25% of the houses are townhouses. Only 5% of the houses are apartments. Studio apartment, one-bedroom flat, and two-bedroom flat. And if you look at the demand in real estate, it's the opposite. In civilized environments, if you go to New York, if you go to London City, if you go to Canada, Toronto, you will see most of the highbrow areas alarmed with a lot of apartments, studio apartment, one-bedroom flat, two-bedroom flat. It's only in Nigeria that we do the opposite. Meanwhile, the demand for real estate, 40% of people that actually need houses are starters who are starting life. Another 20% are people that are working who don't earn up to 50,000 naira a month. So 60% of the people that can buy houses in Nigeria are people that cannot buy houses that are bungalow when priced between 20 million and 50 million naira. So you can see that we are supplying what we don't need. That is today, if you go to Metama and Asokoro, Ikoyi, Victoria Island, some of the houses are vacant, nobody is staying in them. Then if you go to Gwarimpa, the outskirts of the city, you see a lot of the population there is bustling. And today, if you go to Gwarimpa, which is the middle class, you see a lot of duplexes that people have built wrongly. They are bastardizing them now and cutting them into flats. So a twin duplex, they convert into like 10 flats. Meanwhile, if you go towards the airport and go towards Gwarimpa, you see a lot of estates completed. Nobody is staying in them because they cannot afford them. Do you know the federal government came up with fish program for civil servants where they can buy houses, and at the end of the day, it was open to the civil servants. Only directors and above can afford a house that is 15 million using their salaries. That we have with the type of houses that we are building, not buy into it. Most people do investment in real estate so that when they retire into the real estate and start using the rent from the real estate to take care of themselves. So it's expected that anybody that is retiring should have like two or three houses. It is not possible in Nigeria because you can't do investment in real estate, but you need a bulk amount of money to be able to do real estate. So we have a lot of people today, young people class, who cannot invest in real estate because the unit of apartment that they have there, when you go to ask for the price, they tell you it's 25 to 50 million naira. Meanwhile, banks don't give mortgage. So the type of house we build is a challenge. The other challenge is certification. In Nigeria, for you to get a land from government, right of occupancy. Then if you go to the bank to want to take a loan, the bank will be asking you for C of O. Now, if you look at C of O that the bankers are asking for, government don't give land with C of O. And the banks know that government give land with R of O and offer, but they still request for C of O. They know, and the banks know. Second problem. The third problem is diversion of funds. You see a lot of people want to do real estate, even though they don't have the money. Sometimes they get money from relatives who live abroad and tell them they are building houses for them. They take the picture of developments that are going on in certain areas where they are and send the picture to people abroad and tell them, this is your house. When they have spent all the money, sending the money to those relatives, they end up coming back and not seeing a house. So there's a lot of diversion going on. If you give a developer money, for some developers, they go to cooperatives and tell the cooperative, I can do it. Have the money. By the time they contribute monies and give this money to the developers, they establish presence in the site and disappear. And use that same money to go and get another site. And at the end of it, you have a lot of sites uncompleted all over the country, in the countryside. Diversion of funds is very prominent in the real estate sector. People, when money gets into their hand, there are people who are developers who end up becoming politicians, gamble, and use this money have been given to me to go and do election. When I get elected, I will make money and pay back. And so they use this money to go and do a contract. And by the time they do the contract, they don't pay them for almost 1 or 2 years. Estate gets suspended. That is diversion of funds. There are a lot of construction companies today who don't have money, but they demand and apply for contracts. They go to a lot of these cooperatives and tell them they can do real estate for them. When they give them this contract, they establish presence in the sites. But after some time, you see that they don't have money to do the estate. They'll be asking you to bring money. Meanwhile, the arrangement is when you finish the estate, you'll be paid. So many contracts are stunted because of the type of contractors that we have. There are some contractors who take contracts and they take a contract to build 100 bungalows. No, they don't have the money to build only 10 or 20 of those bungalows. When you give them those contracts, they go and establish foundation in the site, 100 foundations. And when they finish their money, the estate gets stunted at the foundation level. That is completion risk. We also have interest rate risk. There are people who borrow money from the bank and so we have a project. And at the end of the day, when they get those money from the bank charge them between 20 and 30%. If you put that in any real estate investment and 3 years lapse without you completing that estate, the money will have almost tripled that you actually borrowed. And at the end of the day, when you sell those houses, you'll be lucky if you make a profit from it. Foreign exchange rate fluctuation. Today, you can see the level of fluctuation in the foreign exchange market. The way the dollar is increasing is the way building materials increase. You take a contract to build an estate and you tell the owner of the contract that I'm going to build these houses for you at 15 million naira to 17 million naira. And less than a month, exchange rate moves from 600 to 1,200. Cement will move from 4,000 to 15,000. And if you put that in the real estate, you raise your hands up because you cannot go back to those real estates. A lot of those estates get truncated and they get diverted. There are people who want to invest in real estate from abroad who bring dollars. They change their dollars to naira, they go into the real estate investment, and at the end of the day, when the houses are completed in 2 to 3 years, they want to repatriate their money. They are not able to change that money back into dollar that they actually invested in that real estate scheme. And in that regard, you have a lot of people today who have invested dollar, and by the time they convert the naira they get from the sale of the property into dollar, they end up going back with fewer dollars that they came with some years ago when they invested. The number of problems we have in the real estate sector is enormous. But money continues to flow in the streets of Nigeria. And everything we need to succeed in Nigeria with real estate is available. Nigeria is big. The market is one of the biggest. A young man who came to do research from China, they asked him to come and do research years ago in Kano, to come and research how they can establish a food factory, a shoe factory in Kano. The man came and saw that the people in wearing shoes. And he went back to give a report that they don't wear shoes. So there's no point establishing a shoe factory in Kano. And they abandoned it. 3 years later, another researcher was sent to Kano to go and look at Kano again and see whether they can establish a shoe factory. The man came and saw that people were not wearing shoes and went back to them, they don't wear shoes. If we establish a shoe factory, it will be a monopoly. And that company actually came to Nigeria and established these slippers that you see. And it was mind-blowing with the returns. Nigerians don't do mortgage. Most of our houses are cash-backed. They are built with cash. The day Nigeria starts doing mortgage, there is no house you build to sell that people will not buy. So there is an opportunity for real estate. And if you look at the population today, 40% of the people, Nigerians, are starters, people that are starting life. Another 20% of people who work in ministries, organizations, who don't have the type of salary that can actually pay interest on mortgage. So 60% of potential land and owners of houses who want to buy houses cannot afford mortgage or buy those houses. I dare you, if you build 1 million homes with studio apartments, 1-bedroom flat, 2-bedroom flat, that 60% of the population that you see can buy those houses. And if those houses are well priced, banks will give mortgage to the young people who have salaries, and they will be able to buy those houses. Meaning that a developer who is developing a house should be able to develop a house with a mix. But what Nigerians are doing now is building houses that you don't have a mix. You go to the estate, there is no 1-bedroom flat, there is no 2-bedroom flat. It means that 40% to 60% of Nigerian population, we are not building houses for them. The houses we are building for them are boys' quarters to those houses, and they just squeeze themselves in those boys' quarters, and they end up staying like 10 in a room sometimes. And some parents nurse their children. They are 40 already, they are still staying with their parents. Let's address the issue of cooperative. Cooperatives can buy houses that people are buying for 30 million naira at between 5 and 10 million naira. I consult for people and I show people how they can succeed with what they do or choose to do. I'd like to show you here today how you can actually get into a collaboration where you can have those who have land, those who have money, and those who have need for houses and construction company. And you can build an estate without putting 1 naira in it. Cooperative have the advantage of their membership. And the membership gives them power and the synergy to get into a contract that will give them the type of discount they are looking for. But what makes cooperative fail? The interest of the cooperative executives sometimes is taken overboard. A cooperative executive can tell you, for every house you build for us, please factor in 2 million naira for each house so that we can have money to share. That will increase the price already of each house by 2 million naira. A cooperative, in a bid to ask their members where they want their houses. Some of them will tell you they want houses in Mabushi, they want houses in Jabi, they want houses, and meanwhile, putting houses in those areas, they can't afford it. And they know that if they put houses in the strategic cities, outskirts of the city, land will be very cheap. And if the land is cheap, the price of the house in turn will also be cheap. So the first solution that I have to share with you today is that landowners have land, but they don't have money. Those who have money keep the money in the bank and don't know what to do with the money. Contractors are looking for contracts and they want to be sure that they will be paid when they finish building the houses. The cooperatives are looking for houses that they can buy at reduced price. If you wait to see a house completed, you might have the bottleneck of waiting to see the complete house and the real price of that house. A bungalow can actually be offered for 20 to 30 to 40 million naira. You have count out 70% of potential cooperatives from participating in any mortgage provision that one has to give to a cooperative. But there are strategies that you can use to build an estate in collaboration with different stakeholders: the landowner, the money provider, the construction company, the mortgage banks. But you must have somebody that will coordinate these people. But if only one party of these stakeholders fail, that estate will fail. So the first solution is select the type of houses you want to build. Have a good mix where 70% of the houses will be apartments, 25% of the houses will be townhouses, and only 5% of those houses will be duplexes and country homes. If you have that mix in an estate, it will be sold before you finish building the house. If you have that type of mix, it means that you can have houses for every cadre of staff. And if you put the house in the right location and create the enabling environment, you can stay anywhere in Abuja and walk from Gwagalada, Kuje, Buhari, and come to anywhere you want to walk to now. You can also use the opportunity to do investment. So members of the cooperative, some of them will have houses already, but they will be able to invest in this type of schemes to make money. Now, let me tell you how your members can buy a house worth naira for 5 million naira. If you have a land that is going for 40 million naira in a place like Kuje, and it can take 100 bungalows, all you need to do is to look for 10 to 20 cooperative members and ask them to buy a house each for 5 naira. Now, these cooperative members can borrow money from the bank and cooperatives and on lend to their members for 6 million naira, 1 million naira on each house. These first 20 cooperative members who are able to do this will be buying that same house that is 30 million naira for 5 million naira. Down 20 of them will give you 100 million naira. That 100 million naira will pay for the land, and you have transformed those members into landowners. And when the estate is completed using my scheme, the 20 members bungalow each. They will have bought a bungalow worth 30 million naira for as low as 5 million naira. Immediately you get that, you are taking care of land. You move straight to construction. You look for somebody that has money in the bank, probably 1 billion. Most people who have money in the bank don't know what to do with the money. The banks pay them 1 to 5% interest on their monies. Offer to give these people 15% to 20% on the money. The money will be fixed in the bank. You don't need to touch the money. So you have given interest of 15% as against 5% to that money. What you need from him is a bank guarantee. The bank guarantee you will use to give to the construction company to move to site to start building those houses. When you secure that contract, you sign the contract with the owner of the money and collect a bank guarantee from the bank. Engage construction companies. When you are engaging construction companies, engage the one that has capacity. Don't give them the 100 bungalows to build. Give them only 40. 40 they're going to start with, they're going to start with their own money to build the bungalow to completion. And tell them the money you have to pay them is already in the bank. And take the bank guarantee from that bank and give it to the construction company. They'll move to site and start building the houses. Immediately they start building the houses. When people see houses coming up, increase your sales price to 15 million naira. Only 10. And tell the people buying, don't give me the money. Put the money in the bank. So you can go back to the cooperative and take 10 people that will buy the next 10, 15 million naira. They can take their mortgage now and use 15 million naira to buy a house that is supposed to be 30 million naira when completed. These first 10 people will buy the house at 15 million naira. They will put in the bank 150 million naira, waiting to pay the construction company when it finishes the first 40 houses. As the construction goes on, as it's getting to the final stage, sell another 10, this time sell at 20 million naira. It will put, 20 million naira. It will give you 200 million naira in the bank. That will give you 350 million naira that will pay the contractor when you finish the first 40 houses completed. Give keys to the number of people that actually took advantage of the first mover advantage. The first cooperative member at 5 million naira, and the first cooperative members that decided to buy at the reduced price. The money you get from the first sales, you give it to the construction company and tell them to move on to the next 30. As they are doing the next 20 at 20 million naira, It will give you 400 million naira in the bank, waiting to pay the contractor when they finish the next 30. When they finish the next 30, give the 20 people their keys and move into the site and get the construction company paid with the 400 million naira and tell them to do the remaining 30 units. As they go on to do the remaining 30 units, sell another 20, this time at 25 million naira. It will give you 500 million naira in the bank, waiting to pay the contractor when they finish and complete the estate. The estate is completed. You have sold 60 of these houses and you have 40 left. The 40, sell another 10 for 30 million naira. Pay all the people you want to pay. The man that kept money in the bank, you will pay him his interest at 15%, and you have to give the banker some monies out of it. You will have completed an estate with 30 houses available to you, and if there is any overrun in pricing, you can sell 10 of those houses to make up for the landscaping and the beautification of the estate. You will have completed an estate. If you look at what I just presented now, there are people that bought that house at 5 million naira. There are people that bought that house at 10. There are people that bought at 20, 25, and 30 million naira. What would you like to buy? What would you like your cooperative member to buy at? It means that a house that is 30 million naira, a member of the cooperative can be made to buy it for 5 million naira. Supposing that cooperative member decides to borrow 10 million naira using his salary and tell the bank that he will pay interest. The interest on the 10 million naira could be 2.5 million naira. If you pay the 2.5 million naira, you take 2 units of 5 million of those bungalows. When the house is completed, go sell one of the houses at double the price. The money you get will be enough to pay them. You will have earned having a house for yourself. Try to take 10 of those houses at 5 million naira and sell to members of their cooperative using their salary and retail borrowing from banks to borrow money from the bank, and they will sell to their cooperative members and add 1 or 2 million naira on the price because they are getting a 30 million naira house for 7 million naira. The 2 million naira on top of it, if they sell to 10 to 20, for them to provide monies to do welfare services for their members, where those who have burial to do, those who have wedding to do, those who want to pay rent, they will be able to get the benefit from all this from their members. Members of a cooperative, they don't even need to pay dues because this type of returns that they get will enable them take care of their cooperative without necessarily paying the dues that they are asking people to do. There are so many things a cooperative can do with real estate. The same real estate scheme that I'm telling you about now, you can use a house to give birth to a new house. If you have a house already, you can mortgage the house in a bank and collect the money and take 2 or 3 houses at the. And when it is time to sell one of the houses. That house that you use at mortgage will come back to you, and a new house will be added to the houses that you have in your investment scheme. In this same scheme, members can use 2.5 billion naira to buy a house that is 30 million naira. If you know you are struggling as a cooperative, look for me. I will hold your hands and show you how you can use so many schemes to own houses for 5 million, for 10 million, for 15 million, for 20 million. You can also use to have savings in the bank that will give you returns that in excess of what banks cannot give you. For example, if you buy a house that is 30 million naira for 15 million naira, it means that when they are selling the house for 30 million, your money will have increased by over 100%. There are so many things cooperative can do with real estate. There is complain that their members are struggling. They don't have, yes, salary they have now cannot buy the house at 30 million. And what they see when when all these developers go to them to do presentation in housing, what they present to them is that the house is at 30 million naira. And when they look at their salary, the salary they have, if they take out what they eat, 40% of what the salary is used to pay rent. They take out the rent, they take out what they eat, they take out what they used to pay school fees. They end up not having even 2 million naira to 3 million naira to put as equity contribution. You can use the equity contribution you used to pay for mortgage to buy a house using what I just explained to you. Are you out there? Are you a cooperative? Are you in your cooperative executive? This is the time to look for me. Come I will show you how you can actually create the enabling environment for your members to own their own houses. In addition to this, I also expose people to how they can start business without $1 in their pocket. Today, a lot of cooperatives are struggling. A lot of them have children who are mates. They are there in their house, they've graduated, but they are not working. Invite us to your cooperative. We'll come and do the enlightenment mindset reorientation program. In that cooperative, those who are unemployed, we are going to give them the opportunity to either start business or use people around them to start making money, helping them with their talents or helping them sell what they have. We give the mentoring that can make those members of those cooperatives engage their children. Those who have spouses who are not working, but they are in the cooperative, can also expose coming to get the enlightenment that they need to start business with little or nothing. In that presentation, we are going to show you how people who are unemployed today can make in excess of 1 million and selling anything they want to sell. We have an ICT hub that we can actually link them up to. They can package anything they want to package today and be able to sell what they have online. And the ICT hub, we have digital marketers who make it possible for them to sell their product to over 20,000 people. And then they will not make the type of money that they are looking for. We also, in that process, we're looking for the cooperative to hear how they can use their mouths to become landlords. Because if you sell 2 or 3 or 4 houses, a house that is 30 million, you're able to sell it for 5 to each of those houses and still sell for 7 million naira. And when you sell 3, you have the money to buy 1. Money continues to flow in the streets. Nigerians are not picking it. I dare any cooperative. Come, I will hold your hands. Help your members own houses with little or nothing. They will be able to buy houses with their mouth. They will buy houses with their rent. They can buy houses with 2.5 million. A house that is 30 million, they can buy for 2.5 million. Bank interest cost. They can give back to a new house with the old house that they are holding now. They can also buy houses at 20 to 50% of the real value. We can put a scheme together for them where we can provide land and they can actually buy houses at huge discounts. What are you waiting for? If you are a cooperative today and you are on this program, challenge me with the challenges that you are having today. We'll show you how you can solve that problem. There is no real estate risk that we cannot take off. The risks involved in real estate are diversion risk, completion risk, sales risk, and interest rates and fluctuation of the foreign exchange rate. I invite you today to come and take advantage of our real for cooperative. I would like to take some questions as we go on. I have Joseph Awino here. Your lecture is really helping me a lot. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming and commenting. I am just carrying and posting the knowledge I get from you. You in my village here in Ghana, and in fact, some of them worship me here. I have introduced your book Money on the Streets to my church. That is Joseph Awino. Is actually communicating from Ghana. Thanks. A lot of them are just saying thank you. I have Jerry Tudeme. Thanks. I really need mentorship. For those who want mentorship, my number is on the screen. Take the number 08052551000. For those who are doing business consultation, who want to grow their business, who want to take their business to the next level, get in touch with me. WhatsApp that number now and drop your numbers. If you're on the screen, if you're on the system now watching, please drop your questions. I will take on all the questions. I will take up all the questions. Even though I don't have enough time to take questions now, after this whole program, I will take your questions. Cooperative are advised to come and take advantage of the cooperative housing solutions that we offer. Again, I tell you, you can make your members own the type of houses that they want. The ones that are senior can buy houses and make money with the houses, increase and double their money's real estate savings without necessarily dropping the money, leaving the money in the bank, and the money will be working for them. We have a solution for all stakeholders in the real estate sector. If you're a landowner, come. will collaborate with you and use your land to do real estate, and you will get much more than you can ever get. A landowner who has land to sell, who wants to sell his land for 100 million naira, we can actually give you houses that will give you over 500 million naira. So why are you selling the house and shortchanging yourself? For those who want to collaborate with us who have land, we can help get into the partnership and pay you a percentage of the price of the land, and pay the other part of the cost of the land in kind, by way of giving you some of the houses that we build in the estate. For those who have money, we will not touch the money. The banks are currently giving you between 1% and 5%. We will be able to give you returns of 15%. Collaborate with us and go into the estate with us fully. Your returns will be tied to whatever we sell the land at the end of the day. You could be the one buying the houses off land and buying 5 to 10 of those units and sell when we are selling, when the houses are completed. You will be making returns in excess of 50%. I dare you, there is no sector that does not have something to benefit. Those who have land, capacity, mortgage institutions that will actually support their customers, then cooperatives. Today is your day. Any cooperative that has collaborative relationship with us, they will enjoy the benefit of mindset reorientation program for their members, where a lot of them who are jobless now will be employed without 1 naira in their pocket. At the end of the day, we'll expose them to our real estate solutions that will make them own houses, make money with real estate, and buy houses at 20 real value. What are you waiting for? I invite you today. Real estate relationship. We are coming up with a scheme for all cooperatives, where cooperatives can do savings with land and houses. We are coming up with a scheme where you can actually pay your rent. Those who are finding it difficult to pay their rent yearly can pay their rent monthly to us, and we'll take charge of paying their rent yearly for them. We do it with organized cooperative, where the cooperative will sign on with us and will provide that services. We also are looking at providing the services of making cooperatives actually get exposed to how they can move to their various next levels. Invite us, we'll do a program for you complimentarily. You don't need to pay for the program. We'll come, a 1-hour program where we'll actually stand to benefit as a cooperative. Wherever you are in the world, if you have a cooperative, we can work with you in collaboration. We also will expose people who want to do investments. I don't want to call it investment, but we are not an investment bank. We're a real estate and business development, mentoring, and business consulting company. What we are doing is actually getting people to save in the cooperatives. We have the engagement with the cooperative, they save in the cooperative and make their savings, buy real estate that will have returns in excess of 20%. So I invite you to take advantage of it. My name is Francis Daniel Okumagba, a mentor, business strategist, wealth coach. The program is Money on the Street. I know people are going through this now, but challenges is what brings out promotion. If you don't want to have testimony, then avoid test. There is no test without a testimony. And the bigger the test, the bigger the testimony. So those who are struggling now, please come. All you need to get out from where you are now is mentorship. If you get mentored, your mindset will be reorientated. Start seeing the opportunities that are bound in today's environment. Money continues to flow in the streets of Nigeria. Everything you need to succeed is in Nigeria. All you need to do is to reorientate your mindset. I've told you, if you can be a landlord without money in your pocket, if you can sell anything and make in excess of 1 million a month, if you can use talented people and make 1 million naira using the talented person that you employ with a salary promise, then there is nothing you want that you cannot get. What is holding a lot of us is our mind. And once that mind is liberated, you will start seeing the money. I thank you for attending this program, and I look forward to seeing you again, same time next week, 12 noon. We also will have this program physically in our office at 11 Dakala Street, Wuse 2. We have open house today, and those who are interested, who are in Abuja, physically meet with us so that you can have the one-on-one sessions that we have in our office today of enlightenment. The objective is to reduce poverty, unemployment, and crime rates in our country, Nigeria. And together, we can hold your hands and get you to your next level. I thank you for
and we tell them to build the estate in stages in such a way that what you give them, they build their money, they build 30% of the estate to completion, you pay them, they use the money to start doing the next 30%. So the issue of borrowing huge sums of money does not arise. We give our contract turnkey to the construction companies and break the contract, and our estates are completed in record time. So the delays that construction companies and developers create in real estate development, we're taking care of that. The fifth problem, which is the biggest problem we have in Nigeria today, is the off-takers, you and I, who buy the houses. Mortgage banks compel you to put equity contribution of 10, 20 to 30%. We don't ask people who do mortgage with us to put any equity contribution down, because we know it is not possible. Because if you the salary of people that are working today, 40% of the salary is used to pay rent. So if you take out the rent, where will you have the equity contribution to put down? If you are buying a house of 12 million naira, you are supposed to put equity contribution of 3 million naira. If your salary, 40% has been used to pay rent, how are you going to get that 3 million naira to put down? So a lot of the workers are not able to get the equity contribution that the mortgage banks are asking for. We have solved this problem. We don't need to ask for equity contribution from people who do mortgage with us. We build the houses using our strategy. When the house is complete, you move into the house.